there is a need to develop a product with protected omega-3 against rumen biohydrogenation. And this is the reason why we create HI-FLAX, that is protected with hydrogenated polystyrene and is rumen bypass. And the main effect of this kind of fatty acid is on the reproduction of cows. The main reason is because when we increase the amount of omega-3 that is fed to the cows, we change the omega-6 and omega-3 ratio. So when this ratio is decreased, we can see an improvement in the reproduction. The main reason is because the omega-3 don't regulate the production of PGF2 alpha caused by the competition for some enzymes. These enzymes are elongase and desaturase enzymes that work for the two families, the omega-3, that is the upper one, and the omega-6, that is this one. The enzymes work in both pathways, so there is a competition of these two different families of fatty acids. So the plasma PGF2 alpha concentration are lower when animals are fed diet with a lower alpha omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. This is what was reported by Gulliver. The other effect is that the inhibition of PGF2 alpha by omega-3 may prevent regression of the corpus luteum, resulting in a sustained progesterone release and better embryo survival. So there is an effect on the hormonal of the cow. The other effect is over the follicle. The size of the ovulatory follicle and the corpus luteum were bigger when cows were fed diet high in omega-3. And also there is an effect over the oocyte maturation that was improved following an inclusion of alpha-linolenic acid in maternal diet. This work of Theron was done in sheep. So we did two trials. The first one is the assessing of efficiency of HI-FLAX in dairy cows. This trial was done in a research center, and the objective was to determine the effect of HI-FLAX on oocyte quantity and quality of lactating dairy cows. The materials and methods. The trial were 64 cows, 21 in each treatment. The average body weight was 591, 42 days in milk, and an average of 37.2 kg of milk per cow per day. And the three treatments were control with 500 grams of hydrogenated palm stearine. Hydrogenated palm fatty acids. The second treatment was extruded linseed that each cow received 350 grams of extruded linseed plus 390 grams of hydrogenated palm fatty acid, and T2 the cow received 500 grams per day of HI-FLAX. After 84 days exposed to the treatment, cows underwent a transvaginal follicular extraction. The cow did not receive heat synchronization or superovulation protocol, so the cow didn't receive any kind of hormones. The quantity of oocyte collected was counted, and their quality was determined based on the characteristic and structure of the oocyte and the cumulus ophorus. And these are the results. The total number of viable oocyte had a tendency to be higher in HI-FLAX cow, and the greater the number of viable oocyte, the bigger the possibility of get a pregnant cow. In the case of the control and extruded linseed, 8.5 oocyte were collected, and in the case of HI-FLAX, 10.5 oocytes, viable oocytes were collected. And this is the p-value. If we see the quality, we use a scale of quality from Q1 to Q4, classify depending on the structure and the morphological characteristic of the oocyte and the cumulosophorus. And the results, the higher the quality, the higher is the probability of the cow to become pregnant. And HI-FLAX show a tendency to have more amount of viable oocyte of higher quality, Q1 and Q2. There is a tendency, and this is the case of the number of oocyte from Q1 and Q2 of control cows, of extruded linseed cows, and HI-FLAX cows, and was an increase of 25% comparing with extruded linseed and 40% comparing with control. And if the main difference was in Q2, where the difference was significant, and in this case the control cows only have one oocyte, extruded linseed 1.9, and a HI-FLAX cow 2.7. So the conclusion of this trial is that HI-FLAX tended to increase the quantity of collected viable oocytes and also improve the quality of the oocyte produced. And this is other trial that were performed in a commercial dairy farm. The name of the research was the evaluation of the effect of HI-FLAX on the productive and reproductive parameters of dairy cows in a commercial dairy farm. And the objective was to evaluate the use of an oil rich in omega-3 protected with stearin on milk production and composition, as well as the reproductive performance of dairy cows. This is the location of the here in Spain, and 150 cows were enrolled in the trial, with an average yield of 41 kg of milk per cow per day, and the trial lasts 4 months. And two groups, the cows were split in two groups, control and HI-FLAX. The control and HI-FLAX receive a basal diet, and with the difference that control receive 400 grams per cow per day of calcium soup, and the HI-FLAX receive 446 grams of HI-FLAX. This difference was to make the TMRs isoenergetic because HI-FLAX have a lower energy concentration than calcium soup, and not any kind of effect on milk yield and milk composition. That here, just to highlight, the only important thing is that the fat was not affected, and the fat yield also was not affected. And this is important because this means that the rumen health was still good, and no milk fat depression were the cow didn't have the milk fat depression. The omega-3 amount in milk, this is just to see that the transfer of the omega-3 fatty acid from feed to milk is very easy to see, and this is the 4th month of the trial, and we can see that at the beginning was in the same level, and in the 2nd and 3rd month the difference was more important. And if we compare, was a tendency to increase the amount of omega-3 in the milk. But talking about reproductive performance, we see that was a significant difference between HI-FLAX and control. Talking about days open, HI-FLAX cow reduced the days open from 185 in control cows to 144 days in HI-FLAX cow. This is a reduction of 40 days open. That is quite important. And the number of insemination was reduced, but not in a significance, was not statistically significant. And the conclusion were that they were not effect on milk yield of the dairy cows. Likewise, no effect was observed on the concentration of fat and protein milk. The HI-FLAX tend to increase the amount of omega-3 in the milk fat, and what is most important, that significantly reduce the days open in dairy cows. That's it. Thank you for your time.